Hello and welcome back to Nick Brake Stuff. Today we're working on the 76 Nova again. We're getting ready to drop the transmission. However, the trouble we're running into is I need 25 inches of ground clearance in order to get the transmission out from underneath the car. There's about 8 inches of ground clearance right now from the lowest point on the car, and my jack stands only go up to 16 inches. So I'm about an inch or so short on being able to get this transmission out from underneath the car. That being the case, we're going to make some jack stands today. Okay, just to show you a little bit more about what I'm talking about here. Now, this is technically a 204R, which, surprise, surprise, this will be actually going in the Nova eventually, but I need to get rebuilt first. However, the casing should be about the same height as the Turbo 350 that's currently in the Nova. And as you can see, it's roughly about 17 inches at its peak. Come over here and look at the jack stand, and roughly just under 8 inches, maybe about 7.5 inches at the highest point on the jack stand. So you put those two together and we need roughly about 25 inches. Now if we come over here to the car, see if I can get this tape measure under here. You can see at our lowest point here, we're at roughly, if the camera will focus, we're roughly at about 8 inches. So being that my jack stand only goes up to 16 inches, we need to make up some space. What we're going to do today, we're going to turn that into jack stands. Okay, so now to turn this pile of lumber into a set of jack stands, we're going to need to make roughly about 100 cuts with this circular saw over here. Now, I'm going to save y'all some gratuitous cutting here, and we'll come back after we get this all chopped up into the proper sizes. Okay, so we've got our wood all cut up, just about ready to assemble here. And when you're taking your measurements, what I did anyways, is I measured from the back side of the tire to the front side of the tire, basically making sure that there's enough space to fit one of these blocks. Kind of like that when it's sitting on the cradle. So what you're going to want to measure is from here to here, and then from the inside of the tire to the outside of the tire. So when I did that, we got 24 inches front to back, and then inside to outside we have 11 inches on the rear and 10 inches on the front. So now we got everything all cut up, it's time to start assembling. Okay, so just a little update. This is how the construction is going to go for this. Basically, you take piece, zip down with screws, next layer, keep going on until we get up to our desired height. And then once we get there, we'll have some stands to put the car on. All right, here's the finished product. So what'll happen is when we get the car jacked up, the tires sit right in here and it'll cradle between these two pieces here. And actually, this turns out to be about 18 inches tall, so it should give me an inch more clearance than I actually really need. We should be good to go. Okay, so I had to run back up to the hardware store really quick. After putting this one together, I realized I was going to quickly run out of screws. So, good tip for this project, if you think you have enough screws, you don't. So overbuy on how many screws you think you're going to need. I got the 5-pound box here. That should cover the rest of this project. We'll see once we get the rest of this put together. Okay, so all of our stands are assembled, ready to go. We just need to get the car jacked up here and the stands placed underneath. See you in a second. All right, we're back. It's a new day. I had to go up to Harbor Freight last night and get a new jack. The jack I have, well, it's kind of a cheap jack, and it doesn't have the reach I need in order to get the car up high enough to get these blocks underneath. This one has almost 5 more inches of travel. along with some extensions, should be able to get us there. Let's check it out. Alright guys, the new jack did the trick. As you can see, we got the car up in the air now. All four corners. Way up in the air now. Have mountains of space to work underneath now too. It is going to be so glorious being able to just crawl right under there and being able to do everything I need on that transmission. Now at this point you might be asking me, now Nick, why didn't you just buy bigger jack stands? Well, two reasons. One, yes, I could have bought maybe 6-ton jack stands instead of the 3 tons I have, but I don't like hyperextending jack stands. You know, with the 6 tons, I'd probably have to stretch them out to the maximum of their limit, and I don't know, I don't really like it. I don't feel safe with it. These are very stable. They're not going anywhere. The car is rock solid as is. Plus, it was a fun little DIY weekend project. It relatively cost about the same, to be honest. It was 16 2x4x10s, 5-pound box of nails. Overall, I think maybe about $100 into all four corners. And it gave me an excuse to bust out my circular saw. So anyways, it's gonna wrap it up for today. In the next installment, we'll be dropping the transmission. See you then.